You can do a little dance. So do a little dance.
T-N-O.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of
N. Oh,
There we go, man. Thank you very much for that.
I did watch.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell tonight, we have an awesome guest in the shape and form of Zavion, and then, of course, the unfortunate guest, but fortunate for us, Shaun. Thank you for joining us.
Wow.
I mean, I don't think by choice you'd want to be here right now, but thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it.
I think Zavion has more of a choice than I do about this one.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that you're sitting there. We're sad to see you sitting there. But
Yep.
we played an awesome game, so it's great to chat to you.
I mean,
Yeah,
Shaun,
I
I
had
don't know
fun.
if you can see behind me, if you can see
Yeah,
what I've
Dr. Evil.
Yes, Dr. Evil. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
what the story behind that is.
No, but I did hear it as the theme song on your Insta stories.
Yeah, exactly. So the reason I'm doing that is because, dude, you had all these plans. You know, what we saw was, something you wanted to really, really get into, and it just didn't materialize. So that's kind of like a Dr. Evil vibe, and you were entertaining while you're doing it. So that's why I've done that. But before we kick on, we normally have an icebreaker just to get going. So I've got a question. Seeing as you're an IT guru there, Shaun.
Oh shit! I'm working. No. This is weekend, bro. I'm working. No. Chat over. This is my work.
You got two options, okay? And Zavion, you can answer this too. Option A: would you rather have the Neuralink or the chip put in your mind, right, and have access to the internet and everything else at any second, but it affects your personality? That's option A. Or would you have option B? You're one of the first people to go to Mars and colonize it, but it's a no-return flight.
Oh, it depends. Who the people on Mars?
You go first. You get to choose.
I've dealt with a bunch of crazies out of nowhere, and thankfully I got to go home afterwards. So I might have to choose the chip in my head, even though I don't want the chip in my head. I don't think I could do a lifetime with a bunch of crazies. I just couldn't. Nah, even my family, I couldn't even do a lifetime with them, and I loved it. So Neuralink changed my personality. It's fine. Come on, Elon, make me special.
All I can see in my mind right now is Dr. Evil with that penis rocket flying across the sky in the movies. Yeah, I don't know if I would go to. I would love to go to Mars, but I think I would also go for the chip, just because if I can choose who I go to Mars with, then I think it would be a different situation. But the chip sounds dope. But what part of my personality would change? That's also interesting. I don't know.
Eventually, I think the AI would take over it. I know this is completely irrelevant, but it's still a survival instinct for the future. So if you guys had to choose someone to go with you to Mars, one person, who would it be?
Definitely my husband. I mean, I have to say that. He's sitting 3 meters away from me.
He's like, bitch, you better say me. You better say me.
He literally looked up. He was like...
Yeah.
Oh,
Shaun,
fuck, it's brilliant.
Have you got in there? Have you gotten someone there on your
One
list?
person, I'd take Elon, because if I need to get the fuck out of Mars, Elon could help me get back home.
Okay.
All I do.
So not chappies or anyone.
It's worth nothing. Then. Come now. Okay.
No, look, it's Chappies. I love Francois. I spent a lot of times with Francois. Chappies was an interesting character.
Okay. All right. Well, it's time for the Survivor questions.
That's all you're going to say.
That's it. We're going to move on to Zavion. What do you want to ask him first? I mean, this is his journey. It's his story. I'm sure there's some things that you've been dying to ask him.
Yeah, I think, this season has been an awesome season to watch. I think the castaways have been absolutely brilliant. Kudos to Afrikaans and Mnet, LaRue and Hundry, who are very good friends of mine, and, for casting these guys, and also just the patience. I think the first thing that I kind of want to know is, from when you guys entered the show, You did your auditions, and you kind of got told that you're going to be part of the journey. And then there was quite a long wait time, before you went on it. How many sleepless nights did you guys have? Because I know, like, for example, when we went on it, we found out pretty much 2 days before we left. And then it was sort of like almost instant. So that journey, that wait time before the actual season was so short. But you guys had months because of COVID.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind? How did you prepare? What was your vibe?
Firstly, I didn't think I was on until I stood on that mat in front of Nico, because the journey was just so long to get there. You're thinking, oh, something can happen on the flight. I can get COVID during lockdown. I could trip and fall and break my leg on that hike all the way to the first mat. So I never really believed or got myself excited until I was literally standing there saying, okay, now I can't go home. I'm here. I'm on Survivor. And then I was happy. Then I was really happy. But in terms of my preparation, non-existent, eh? Lockdown hit. I started baking, picked up some weight, played a lot of games, spent time with my dog.
Oh God, were you one of those banana bread bakers?
Yeah, I was about to say.
No. Mine was stuffing as many different types of chocolates into as many baked goods as I could. So it was nothing normal. It might have looked totally unappetizing. But trust me, when you put a Mars bar, Nutella, some peanut butter into a muffin, it really works wonders.
I think Zavion, you got a new catering sort of offering that you can put there for your clientele.
Yeah, totally. I'll phone
in.
Shaun to come and cook us some treats in the kitchen.
I think
that sounds like a
way better
fabulous
taste
idea.
than mine. They've got way better taste than me. I'm very simplistic with a Mars bar. I'm not going to do any fancy cooking. But yeah, so my gameplay was I didn't think about it because I just didn't think it was going to happen. So I just spent as much time as I could enjoying life while we were in lockdown. And then we got the phone call saying, okay, it might happen. I was like, okay, maybe it'll happen. And then we got, okay, it's happening. I'm like, yeah, I've heard this before. No, it's definitely happening. Okay, I've heard this before. No, okay, we're going now next week. I'm like, yeah, sure, okay. And yeah, so I never believed it until I actually got there, which is weird because I think it's more to do with the age. You stop getting excited about small things until they happen. It kind of loses that.
Shaun, I'm glad you mentioned the age thing, because you get there and now it's a realization. Hey, cheers to the Red Bull. Not that we're sponsored by anything, but yeah, cheers to that. Keep you going.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is mine?
Yeah,
take it from your side. Thanks, dude.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks.
That would have been so good if you had pulled a Red Bull at that moment. Sponsorship sorted.
There we go. Tierno can keep
we
going
actually
for
have
the next
Red Bull,
couple of years.
I'm definitely not giving up for that. It's not happening.
All right, Shaun, wait. So you get there. You get to the mat. Now it's become a realization. You look around and you start looking at the people around you. They're a lot younger. How does this immediately, what goes through your mind? How does it affect your gameplay? Because we've had previous castaways come on the show saying they all thought they were going to come on, be friends with the buddies, the older people, and there weren't older people there. So how much was that affecting whatever you did?
I was actually laughing when we were doing our pre-interviews. Like I say, with COVID, I've got this funny feeling that I'm going to be the oldest castaway. I don't want to be the oldest castaway, but I've got this funny feeling I am going to be the eldest out there. I didn't want it to change my game because, no one really knew my age. It sort of happened. And I think the moment that made me realize I was the oldest person there is when Nico was asking the contestants who they are, where they're from, and all this. And Dina goes, "Oh, yeah, I must be the oldest guy here. I'm 30 and struggling." And I'm like, "Dude, you're 30. Like, oh my God, okay, I'm really old. I'm really old. If he thinks he's the oldest guy here at 30, I'm screwed." So yeah, that was interesting. I didn't expect it. I thought it'd be a really funny joke if I was. I didn't expect it though. Not even close.
Okay, cheapers. But did it affect your strategy or anything? Did you then go?
No, look, it never affected my strategy because being the eldest, regardless, is that wasn't a change my strategy. What changed my strategy was, okay, firstly, I wanted to go in there and be malicious. Well, not malicious, mischievous, naughty, and have a bit of fun. But then it was just this huge target on day one, courtesy of Amy.
Amy, or you looking through the rights?
No, Amy. Amy said,
Okay.
I got this package in my area. Yeah, I know package. And for me, it was like, me and Kia was seriously looking, because on this challenge, right, we got these huge tunas, like huge. And we're thinking, why would you get these huge tunas if you can't cook them? There must be a hidden flint, because this season is totally different. Maybe they've hidden flint. And true as well, look, we were looking for an idol, I'll be honest. But we were also separating the food and looking for flint. But that no one believed that. They were like, idols. Yeah, it's likely true. And that just kind of changed my whole game plan, because I realized, okay, listen, you can't go around causing so much chaos on day one. You're going to be in a lot of trouble moving forward. So then I just reverted into being my natural self and just started looking after people at camp. And that is how I ended up with this dad persona, because if there was something wrong at camp, your stops are broken, the roof is falling down, shit needs to be done, I would do it. And I just ended up, falling into this dad role. Not necessarily because of the age. The age just made it funny. It was more about my actions back at camp than anything else.
Oh, that's interesting. We got Meso Botse asking, Shaun, in an alternative universe, which pre-merge boot is most likely to win?
Dino.
100% Dino, off the bat. You didn't even think twice. And also, Zavion, you smiling. It's almost like you know a little bit too much about Dino. I don't know what's going on there.
My husband taught Dino at school. So
okay.
Dude, so he's been playing Survivor for a long time then, Dino.
No, I had never met Dino until last year. He came to one of the sort of like experiences where we had people coming for like movie nights at our venue. And then we didn't even know he was coming. And then my husband was like, oh my word, I taught him, like, let's go chat to him. And then, I spoke to him. And then the next thing we knew he was on Survivor. So it was quite cool to see that. But yeah, he's a very, very, very calculated player. Hey, Shaun, Dino's he understands the game and he's quite fluid.
Yeah, Dino is a smart boy, likable. The problem with Dino is that he went for that idol on day one. And, as soon as you have that little bit of a target on you, it just makes it easier to build on top of it. So at any opportunity, I was driving a bus over Dino because I knew he couldn't get to merge. The way the way he played the game, he was just so insightful. He could tell you what challenges were coming up before they would come up. And when you see that kind of person playing, like, nah, I can't have this person at merge. Can't have him at merge. So I think pre-merge, anyone, Dino would have taken it.
Shaun, Keon asked a question earlier. She posted up and she said, why, Shaun? Why did you write her name down at that first tribal council? You guys could have been great together. Why?
Could have had something beautiful, she said, huh?
Yes, something along those lines.
So it's the game of Survivor, and that first tribal, if you were there those first 2 days, it was either me or Kia. The Jason vote literally happened 30 minutes before tribal. So the perception was it's either going to be me or her. And I said to her, look, I'm going to go balls to the wall at tribal. I'm going to cause chaos and sow confusion, because if everyone thinks you've got the idol and you act that way at tribal, they're going to think you've got the idol. So they're not going to really put as many votes on you. They'll split the vote, but not as many votes. And the longer tribal went on, people weren't budging with what they wanted to do. Everyone was just like, Nico, we just want to vote. Nico, we just want to vote. Nico, we just want to vote. And I was like, screw it. No matter what I'm doing, it's not working. So it was either my name or her name. And I thought, well, if it's going 50-50, I'm putting down her name so I can be here tomorrow. And that was it. Look, she didn't know I wrote down her name until it aired, because I told everyone that I wrote Nicole. Everyone, even Nicole thought I wrote down her name, because there was still one vote unread. That was my vote. It was for Nicole, but you guys didn't see it. Lies.
Yeah, that was one of the other questions, is how many lies did you tell on the island, if you had to quantify that?
Oh, it's unquantifiable. Unquantifiable, because there's only two people I didn't like in the game, Renee and Smash. Otherwise, my gameplay, like, with Mike, was throw Mike under a bus. Paul, throw Paul under a bus. Dino, throw under a bus.
I feel like he's got a strategy. Find someone and throw them under a bus. I love this.
Exactly. I will look after you at camp. I will feed you. I will do everything you need. But as soon as I see that bus, I'm pushing you, because I need to make it to the end.
That's real parental sort of sink or swim life skills. That's what it is. I'm going to nurture you.
I'm sure
I'm going to push you on that bus.
Push out of the nest. Yeah.
Hey, Santini flew really well yesterday. She flew really well. So it worked.
Yeah.
Go for it.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, no, so look, I told a lot of lies, but there was a reason for those lies, because like when I was throwing Mike under the bus, Carla was up for the vote, right? So I went and I told Chappies and I told Santini that Mike is going for you as hard as possible. They assumed, and I'm like, no, he organized the pinty blind side and he did this. And I just laid it on and said, listen, he's coming for you next. He's coming for you. And then with the Paul thing, I was like, you know what, guys, Paul actually ate those huge life bars. It was him, and he's eating everything. And then that just got wildfire and done. And then, we got to the double tribal. The double tribal, I had 2 goals in double tribal. One was to make people feel so bad that they gave us back the machete. And 2 was to throw Dino so hard under a bus that he was not able to find any passengers for his ride down the game. And that happened. So it was a great strategy. It just, it didn't work out too well yesterday because we had to stop driving a bus and try and be friendly.
Jeez, bro, you clean up well in a day, seeing as you left the island yesterday and now you're sitting here in your gamer chair. I love it. Is it a lot comfier than the bamboo?
Man, I actually fell asleep on this chair earlier in between sessions. It was like, I see 5 of it's great. Because it lies flat. It really lies flat. It's great. So, I love my comforts. I really do. But in a day. And I also picked up the weight.
Yeah.
I picked up the 10 kilos I lost. Yeah.
You got all those future life goals. You're 10 kilos.
Yeah, I lost just over 10 kilos. I'm never going to look that good again. Ever. No matter how hard I try. I'll never look that good again.
That's exactly
what
happens.
On TV. But that's never again.
Yeah, and they say the camera adds on 5 kgs, so you've just got to imagine how skinny we all actually look in real life when you lose that weight. I lost 18 kilograms. So when I had this like little bobblehead, and not that long. I mean, how many days were you there? What day was it that you got voted out? Yeah, 23. I was there for 25 days was mine. Remember, our season was shorter. So we had 27 days in total. And then the season after ours, they went with 39 days. So, but it's hectic because you lose so much weight and you get back home and you think like, oh, I'm going to keep this weight off. It's going to be great. And then 1 chocolate, 2 chocolates, McDonald's, KFC, chicken licking, debonaise. I hope I get paid by all these people that I'm mentioning. And then that's it. You carry on and you pick up the weight and Bob's your uncle. And before you know, you're like 20 kilograms heavier.
It is. No, I agree with you. It's very interesting. Oh, man. But it was fun picking up the weight again. It really is fun because, like everyone says, you have this, but also you have this survival mindset that the food's never going to be there. So you're just like gorging on everything because you think, okay, either they're going to call, cut guys, you've got to leave this reward, or someone else is going to take it, or something's going to happen, your food's going to disappear. So you just
like
eat
savages.
As much. Exactly. Like, like Ponderosa, I could tell you some stories about people getting ill. just from food. Like you eat way too much, and it just comes straight back out.
That's the thing. They warn you. Like as soon as you get voted off, they tell you. They're like, listen, take it easy. Don't eat too much. You don't listen to shit. You're just like chows, anything. And you always feel ill. It's awful. But I think the interesting thing about the weight loss, which is quite cool that they're highlighting that like post when players get voted out with the season. I think it's so cool that they're highlighting these things because it almost makes it very real for the public. I don't think the public or the viewer that's watching actually understands how tough this game is. They reckon that when the cameras get switched off, which they never fucking do, they never get switched off. While in the middle of the night, while you're dorsing, you look up and there's one lone oak with a camera pointed at you and there's a little green light and you know that they're recording. And so they never switch off. But the public reckons they switch off the cameras, they bring in the pillows and the sleeping bags, and they give you the apple and the things on the side. And, it's not so bad. But I think the weight loss is a testament as to how tough this game is. And I think your season, Shaun, is, hands down, the toughest elements-wise that South Africa Survivor has ever seen. You guys looked like you suffered out there. It was insane and so brilliant to watch. I love watching the suffering. It brings joy to my heart. It's brilliant.
I was hoping more people would quit with the weather. Some people got close, but no one really just jumped over the edge.
Weren't you like nearly forcefully? I mean, what happened there? Did you fear that you're going to get ejected after the pineapple stint, like that moment?
With the pumpkin skin.
Pumpkin, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't eat pumpkin. I've never eaten pumpkin. The smell of pumpkin makes me ill. Makes me completely ill. Found out the hard way. So my biggest worry that day was being pulled from the game because it was just too early. We were just getting our footing in the game as with myself, Amy, and Smash. And I thought, if I go home now, it's not only my game ruined, it's Smash and Amy's game that's ruined. It just has this huge domino effect. And I didn't want to go home. I had the doctors come and check up on me twice to make sure I was still alive. But yeah, I literally don't remember anything from maybe like 10 minutes after you guys saw until I woke up the next day.
Shit.
I literally don't remember anything. No, I was done. I was out cold.
Yo, dude, so good job to the medical team. Shout out there for bringing you back and letting you play again. Wowza, that's pretty hectic. I just want to ask the sort of, Zavion touched on the fact that the cameras are always there. What was the funniest moment that happened off air with regards to you and a cameraman or camera woman or whatever the situation is? What is the funniest thing they caught you doing?
Caught us doing?
No, not us, just you in particular. Your story. What is like the one moment that you'd be like, damn, like I did this and these guys were watching me and I forgot they were there after a while?
Well, the thing is, you don't really notice the cameras much anymore until they start telling you to move out of the shot. But otherwise, it just becomes part of the natural surroundings. It sounds weird, but when you've got all these people at your camp, you no longer notice them. They just become these objects that you need to move around. So there's nothing really that, was oh my word, this is happening on camera, because everything happened on camera and you didn't really care. But one of the most amazing moments that happened that hasn't been shown was this one night it was the only night we had the stars. And we're at Vuna 3.0.
Bleak, yeah? You were out in the wild for how many? 23 days. You saw the stars once, bro. Unlucky. Like that's a terrible, ominous sort of sign.
Yeah, like Zavion messaged me about his wonderful trip he had now with his stars, and he goes, "Yeah, it's like Survivor stars." I'm like, not my Survivor, man, not my Survivor.
We had epic stars on my season. Sorry, Shaun.
We just had epic rain. That's all we had was epic rain. But so it was this really great moment that wasn't game-related, and it just took you out of those moments. You think, I can't believe this is happening on Survivor, because we had transferred the fire onto the beach. We dug this hole, we built this big bonfire, and we were all just starting to sing songs, very kumbaya, and we just felt like we were at camp in high school again. And it was just this moment, like you think, I hope this makes it to air because I really want to see this experience again. But it is very much too kumbaya for Survivor. It really is. And that one for me was like a really surprising moment because you don't expect those kind of moments in the world of Survivor. And we didn't expect that moment with the weather we had. So we really embraced it.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's so cool. We had one kumbaya moment where there was a cricket game being played on the beach.
Oh shit.
And
That's amazing.
It actually did make air. And, you know, obviously, I mean, I'm good with balls, but just not good with cricket. So, you know, so I was standing on the side being the cheerleader. Cricket is one of the few sports that I actually can't play. So I was like, let me just not be that person that looks like a fool. But yeah, it was the only kumbaya moment. But, you know, it's so interesting because you have these moments on Survivor, you know, and you do have these sincere elements. But I think what's been interesting about this season is there's been such excellent players and there's been so much that needs to get squashed into an episode that there almost isn't time for those beautiful moments. So, and I think that's what also makes it special for the contestants. You know, it's something that you, Shaun, will always have for your whole life. You'll remember that moment and it'll be special to you. And it is nice to have that stuff on TV. But there's little things that sometimes it's nice to just know that you went through it. And just touch on what Shaun was saying earlier, literally with the cameraman and the crew, you notice them for the first 2 days, 3 days max. And then after that, they almost disappear. It's almost because they're not allowed to communicate with you, obviously. You know, they can't make any gestures. They can't talk to you. They can't smoke, eat, or drink in front of you. They can't do anything in front of you. So your brain and your whole like being just kind of blocks them out. And like with our season, and I would imagine it was very similar to Shaun's, the first 2-3 days, you're very like prim and proper and be like, I want to come across like good on TV, and you know, I want to like have good posture and make sure the hair is on fleek and what.
I was about to say, your hair's on fleek now. Shaun isn't looking bad either. I'm sure that's like in the first 2 days, that's a concern. You're like, are you getting my best side? Come on, what's going on?
Yeah. And then eventually you're just like, you actually don't care what you look like, what you're saying, how you're acting. And that's the beautiful thing about Survivor, is it extracts that side of you that maybe you didn't know that you had. And that's what's always interesting watching, because a lot of contestants always say, you know, it is a heavily edited show and I'm not really like that in real life. And it's always interesting to me when people say that, because, you know, when all of these luxuries get stripped away from you, you know, your core does start getting shown. And I think it surprises a couple of contestants when their true self actually gets shown on TV.
And I love that, because I think we're like, out of the contestants, and in terms of Shaun's journey, we saw a lot of that. We saw you were quite emotional. And I think you've come out saying afterwards as well, Ponderosa, like you're like, you know, you came into the strategy and you were quite surprised how emotional it was for you. And that's quite an interesting thing, talking about the call. Like, did you find that quite intriguing?
Yeah, because, you know, I think it had a lot to do with the elements, because look, I've been in boarding school most of my life. I'm used to traveling, not seeing my friends or family for long periods of time. But you don't expect to build these bonds so quickly and care for these individuals. And when you're all destitute, cuddling, and it's raining nonstop, and you're just drenched, these people become closer than family. And it's very hard not to get emotionally attached to these individuals. And if I get emotionally attached to anyone who becomes part of my family, I will be the bull in the front, taking all the bullets, making sure that the family's fine. So if I had to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go put on a roof because it's raining, I would do it, no problems, because I thought I'd be a lot more selfish in the game. I went in there with me. And in the first 2-3 days, it became a we have to survive. We have to live. We have to get through this. We have to win one challenge. Damn it, just one challenge. We stick with one.
Bless.
Yeah.
So was that key in you making the merge then? Because you had that we mentality in the beginning, and then maybe not so much as soon as you made the merge. You were probably still thinking too much about the we, or is that just you just got dealt terrible cards?
No, I never got dealt terrible cards. Saying that to anyone is just a cop-out. I had plans going into merge that didn't come to fruition, unfortunately. But it's yeah, that's why we're here, damn it. But it's you know, it's the problem. The problem I found once we reached merge is that we were too complacent as an alliance. And I've said this before, right? Is you can be in a good alliance, but if you're not in alignment, you're screwed. And we just weren't in alignment. We weren't. We had good relationships with each other. We trusted each other, but we just weren't on the same page when it came to what our strategy was. And I think that is what undid us in the merge episode, is because we were just too complacent. We weren't willing to think that anything else could happen. And that became our downfall. And again, with last night's episode, you know, the plan was drive that bus over something as much as possible.
Classic Shaun strategy, that one.
Yeah. Free rides, baby, free rides. So the problem is, and I think if we'd stayed on that strategy, we could have turned at least one person around at the tribal. And the problem is, because we weren't aligned, we changed our strategy the day of tribal. Now it was a strategy of, okay, let's kumbaya with Santini, let's work on our previous relationship, let's work on those heartstrings. And if you've been driving a bus with someone's name on it for the last 2.5 days, the plan's not going to work anymore. You're not. It's just, you got two different plans going into this final tribal. And, you know, a lot of people have said that Shaun was very defeatist in this final tribal, but it wasn't, I was defeatist. It was this, I was trying to go with what my alliance wanted. And going with what my alliance wanted meant I had to keep quiet at tribal, I had to be nice and sweet as much as I could, so that we didn't scare off Santini, so that you would vote our way. But again, that didn't work, because we were again too complacent, believing that Tyson will work with Smash, Santini will work with Amy. Nah, we got to work for today. Work for today. Worry about tomorrow. And that's our problem. We were so focused that we were getting till tomorrow. We weren't there yet. We were here. Fight today. So,
Shaun, you got a question here from Chris. He's asking, do you require a license to drive that bus in Survivor?
No license required, eh? None.
And then you've also got Dylan asking you, is how much did you struggle, or says, how did you cope with not being able to smoke out there?
Didn't think about it once, eh? Not once. Didn't crave a cigarette once. Just so busy. You're so busy all the time. It's just
too much else going on, man.
Yeah. The only thing I dreamt of was a spa. Not like a get nice and pretty spa. A bloody spa shopping aisle. Those were my dreams. I was just walking down this aisle going, I want this, I want this. No.
Filling the trolley with goodies.
No, I just wanted food. And that's, you know what, if you've ever got downtime in Survivor, you talk about two things, family and food. That's it. You don't talk about, oh, I'd love a tequila now, I'd love a smoke now. Nah, that's bare necessities. Love and food.
God, and I hated that. Every time food came up, it was like, oh, guys, how nice would it be to have like a macaroni and cheese now? And then that's all you can think about for like an hour is mac and cheese. And then the next person goes like, yeah, but how nice would like a mango salad be with salt and pepper? And you're like, you know, in normal life, you would be like, who does that or whatever. But on that game, that's all you bloody talk about is food, and that makes you even more hungry. It's like torture.
Yeah. It's like I made this thing with roasted coconuts, which almost tasted like a dessert. And everyone in the game.
So if you had a Mars bar, would you have thrown that in there?
No one would have seen that. That would have been in my tummy straight away. Fuck everyone else on the Mars bar. No, so like you make these like meals where it's like this flavored pup with roasted coconut and sauteed in this sugar cane, and you're like, oh, when I get home, I'm gonna make this amazing meal because it tastes so good. The only reason it tasted good was because it was a change of flavor from fucking rice. It's the only reason it tasted good. When I got home, I am still to this day no touch pup. I ate rice for the first time last week, and I still haven't eaten chicken. I still have not touched chicken after last night. After we ate that chicken, poor Merge. Merge was the rooster. After we ate him, I've not touched chicken since. Oh, I cringed.
How
eating that chicken.
involved were you in the process of the cooking of merge?
Oh, so merge I was gutting and de-feathering.
Yeah.
And
Even Zavion's going, look, dude, are you sure his catering credentials aren't up there now? He's telling you the story here. I mean,
no, I don't touch
again.
chicken anymore.
Again, good with cock, but just not with chicken. Like, I'm joking.
No, you're not.
You know, I'm not. But but that's the thing. Like everything on Survivor, when you eat. So for us, I couldn't eat rice for about a year, 2 years after we did stuff. I still struggled.
Is everyone still there?
Ah,
I don't know
back
what
again.
happened.
I don't know what happened.
Are you guys still
Sorry.
there? Or-
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. That's the first time that's happened. You can see, just like Survivor, the curveballs are always thrown. You never know what's going to happen. So welcome back, guys.
Good to be here.
Over the conversation.
Before we jump into the actual segments of the show, we got a couple of questions. One from Carla, Shaun, saying, why? Why did you take Chappie's instead of Carla, is what she was asking.
Well, look, if I didn't take Chappie's, Santini and Smash would have drowned out there. So, you know, my conscience is keen on that one.
Fair, that's a fair point, yeah.
No, look, I love Carla to bits. It was just a case of, you know, we were planning for merge. She was going after Smash and Amy, and Smash and Amy were my OG Zumba tribes, and it just it became, you know, who would be better in merge for us? And Chappie's we thought would be the better one because it'd be a lightning rod for everyone to vote for, which would make our lives a lot easier moving forward. But yeah, you know, hindsight, worst superpower ever. I suppose if I knew our first merge would have gone, I would have loved to have had Carla around. But at the same time, then Smash and Santini wouldn't have been, which also could have been great for my game. It really could have. I should have just let them both drown and say, yay, first down.
Well, Paul said the same thing about your pumpkin reaction. He was like, yeah, bro, if you got evacuated, good for him. That's what he said. We got a question from we got a question from Rachel Brookstein saying, what is the pic of your tattoo that you've got on your back?
Oh, my tramp stamp.
Yeah. Well, not your words, not mine. I'm just putting that out.
It is a tramp stamp. There's no denying it. Like, why must I lie? It is a horrible tramp stamp. I used to be a bit of a hippie when I was younger, and I believed in this whole Reiki and spiritual kind of stuff. So that's the Reiki Chokerai, which is the symbol for spiritual energy healing. And that I've had 23 years. I've been walking around with the tramp stamp. But now I own it. The worst part is it either looks like a music symbol, or you know those mozzie pads that you light up and there's those coils that burn? That's what it looks like. Check.
Sure.
Can you see?
Yes, man. Look at that, guys. Mozzie repellent. If you're looking for an ambassador, this is a walking ambassador. Is that what turned you off the Reiki? You went to the shops, you went to Spa, and you were looking, and you saw one of the mosquito repellents. You're like, the fuck? They tricked me. This is no Reiki. It's just mosquito repellent. Is that why you stopped?
No, but these mosquito repellents weren't even like that back then.
Yeah.
You know, this is 23 years ago. This was really a chokerai, which is about your spiritual energy flow. Because I used to go to Reiki once a week. I was all into this. Yo, if you're going to get a tattoo, get one that actually lasts. Don't get one.
Hindsight 2020, man. Jeez,
Worst
okay.
superpower.
It's time. We're going to go to the Golden Spear, where we talk about the best move for the player during the episode. And this is brilliant because we've got Zavion, who's obviously played before in season 5. And then we've got Shaun, who's fresh out the blocks, the freshest alumni. Which, by the way, welcome to the family, Zavion. Did you say that? I mean, this is the Survivor family now. I'm still on the outside looking in.
Welcome to the family. Yeah. I mean, welcome to the people that were voted out. Didn't win.
Yeah. Welcome to the rest of the losers. Welcome to the rest of the losers. Great feeling. Thank you.
But isn't it more exciting that there are more losers than there are winners? So you guys can't always gang up and beat the shit out of the winners. I don't know.
No, absolutely. Fuck all of the winners. They can go screw themselves. Like, it's all about the OGs, the losers, man. We outnumber them. It's dope.
The OGLs. The OGLs.
Yeah. Yes, that's it.
Shit, man. We got one more question before we actually talk about the game here. Slaying the Dragon, shout out to them. Awesome jobs they're doing. I'm sure you've already spoken to them, Shaun. They said, did the tattoo help you stop you from getting bitten by the insects on the show?
Surprisingly, I did not get bitten once by any mosquito. Not once.
Oh, there we go. The Reiki.
People were getting chowed left, right, and center. But I didn't get any mozzie bites. But then again, I literally smelled the worst because I was always taking to the fire. So you have that smoke, horrible smell all over you all day, combined with sweat. Man, you got to bottle that shit. I'm telling you, you'll never get a date again.
Real musk, Survivor flavor. I feel like that's an opportunity missed. Also, we can add that when we go to Zavion's retreat over there. I mean, that looks great there. I love the palm trees in the background. You playing Survivor 24/7 as well, Zavion. Anyway, back
Listen,
back
fuck
to the
off. This is my house.
It comes with a roof and warm showers.
Yeah. Okay. Best player or players that made the best moves this episode for you, Shaun, and then for you, Zavion. Let's hear it. I want to hear this debate. Let's get into it. Who's your first picks, guys?
Santini for making them believe her.
Yeah, that's a fair shot.
I think that's a great play. Personally, I think Santi making the other people that she'll jump ship again. Bravo.
Santini is a brilliant. Well, look, I can only go based on what we're seeing at the moment, and Santini is very. She's very smart. Her and Anesu have got a great opportunity here because they can just keep playing both sort of sides, which is a very interesting place to be in. And if they're smart, they can keep it up. But very soon, these other alliances they're going to be in trouble because they're going to have to rely on those two. And there's two of them. Usually there's only one person who is sort of like changing and playing sort of both sides. But I feel like there's two, which is interesting. Yeah. And then
there's Chappies. There's Chappies, which is an additional vote. So if the three of them can actually pull something together, then I think they'll do well. The problem being is that the camp seems so divided between old lines. It's a question of who's going to make that first strike of jumping across and saying, okay, cool, let's take up my alliance. That's what I'm looking forward to see what happens, because at the moment, yes, I know what happens in the game because I was there, but now as a jury member, I know as much information as everyone else. I get to see maybe an extended version, but yeah, this is where it becomes interesting. So whoever, you can have the golden sphere tonight, but next week you could have the wooden spoon. The season is just, it's chaos. It's absolute chaos.
It is.
But I love that you say that, because looking back, when you got voted off, you said, no, you already have your winner picks in mind and you're going to make statements for these people going through and no one's really played the game to win and I want a real winner. That's what you were saying. Looking back now and actually seeing the season, are you seeing people that are making real moves and going, wow, I'm actually quite impressed with this person. I didn't know they were doing this.
So when I left the game, there were three people on my radar for playing the best game. Unfortunately, none of them are who I'm backing. Which is the problem. So for me, like, regardless of what happened with Santini, I've been playing with her from day one, so I know her game. A great game. Kieran, unbelievably smart guy, knows the game really well, and is proving to be a challenge beast, right?
Yeah.
And then Tyson. So for me, those three players, even I knew it then, and I know it now. So for me, it hasn't changed as much, which is quite nice. It's more a case of now who wants to show they want it the most, because what you did before merge is irrelevant. What you did yesterday is irrelevant. You've got to constantly be building momentum until this final tribal, because if you don't have the momentum with the resume by the time final tribal counts, no matter how many people like you, you're not going to win. Not on this season. Definitely not on this season. It's not about the most likable person. It's about the best player at the moment. And we have, everyone's playing hard. Everyone is playing hard.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You guys have touched. You've touched on the swingers. We're calling them swingers, the duo there. We've got Anesu and Santini. What's lovely about them is they're going to keep going because they are the extra numbers. They are. They're going to keep going. That's the interesting thing. What is interesting is when we're looking one step further, you've got your fractions that you've said. You've got obviously the tight three in Tyson, Kieran, and of course Warda, and then you've got Amy, Renier, and Anela. And this is kind of where these two are going to fluctuate between. And it only gets to the point where they start looking at each other within their alliance and whether or not they're going to want to break that and bring them in. So that's kind of where their downfall comes. But with regards to Kieran, you've touched on the fact, immunity threat. That's arguably a good move in the episode, not so good probably moving forward. Is there another name you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, I think I also agree with Kieran. He's a brilliant, brilliant player, and he's got a very broad vision of the game. He's not closed off, and he's very fluid. I like saying the word fluid because that's exactly what happens in Survivor. First of all, cannot fucking wait to know what this twist is that our wonderful production at Afrikaans is going to throw at these castaways. This is what happens. I know you can't. Don't say anything. I don't want to know. And this is the thing about Survivor that people don't understand.
Sorry, Zavion. Did you pick that up? That was a Dr. Evil laugh. I mean, he's got it on point. He's definitely. That was it.
Even did the pinky.
Yeah. Okay, as you were. Sorry, Zavion.
Sorry,
guys. This is the thing. No, it's all good. This is the thing about Survivor, is that the good players have to be fluid, and the game throws things at you, and it doesn't matter how schooled you are in the game, how much of a super fan you are, how brilliant you are with social connections, or how much of a challenge beast you are. The game throws you a curveball, and all of a sudden, where you want to challenge the 1 week, the next week, all of a sudden, you're the person that completely lost. So I'll give you an example. When we went to merge, I won the first immunity challenge out of merge. Okay, it was a physical, then it went into a puzzle challenge. The very next immunity challenge was all about putting coconuts into other people's chutes that you don't want to win. And I got the most coconuts put in my chute. I did not stand a chance in winning immunity. So if you're not fluid enough to understand, this is the thing. I want to touch on Chappie's here for a moment, because he did say in one of one of his interviews, where he was like, I'm aiming for 7 immunity challenge wins. Survivor does not work like that. You cannot have that mindset of, I'm just going to win all of the immunities and get into the top 3 and then win the game. Like, it doesn't work like that. So I think that the players that are going to get far and the people to watch are the people who are actually able to adapt to what's happening. I'm talking about Kieran. I'm talking about Santini. Love her or hate her, she adapts with each vote. She's playing both sides. Tyson, I'm worried about. He's very fixed in his way. He's very close to people. Is he going to be able to adapt to the changing of the game and the changing of alliances, because it's on its way? So yeah, very interesting. The brilliant season. It's brilliant.
Yeah. But Kieran, also, you talk about his fluid. He's being fluid, and him being. He knows he's a threat. I think after winning to him, you can't not know, especially when you're a student of the game. But what's interesting is he's saying he wants Anela out because he sees him more as a threat at that time being than Shaun, because he's likable. where Shaun, you can always throw something based on that period in time. But he does what's best for that vote at the time. And arguably it sinks your game there, Shaun, because he says to Santini, you know what, you make the decision. And you had pissed off so much that you couldn't then go back. And the time where you wanted to rectify and say, listen, let's work together, she had already agreed upon, listen, I want you out. And everyone said yes. So she couldn't just go back on that. And that kind of was your downfall. And again, that was Kieran letting her make the decision, which is a smart move from his player.
Look, Santini wanted me out regardless. That's why for me, no matter what we did though in that final day, or if we'd done it 2 days earlier, wouldn't have changed her outcome, because we both knew each other's game and we both wanted each other out. So I don't think that would have affected the outcome as much as changing our game plan, because there was really this wariness around Santini because she's playing double agent, because she's all over the place. There might be the ability to swing one person's vote to it. So that for me is where, the problem arose, was changing a game plan halfway through, or 75, 80% of the way through. It's just not going to work, especially when I know how Santini's plays. And that's why I said, for her to convince Amy and Smash that she's going to vote with them, I'm like, that deserves the golden sphere, because I've played with her so long that's not going to, well, my personal view, right?
Yeah, let's hear it. Just let's.
But that's my
all the beans.
It's my personal view that she won't work with them, because if you were around those 2-3 days and you saw me throwing you under the bus, and these two people are playing with you or playing with me, the assumption is these people are also helping drive the bus. And that for me is a big concern, because even though she has said to you she'll work with you, I don't know if that's what she really means. And that's why I say it was a great play, convincing these other people that wanted you out. No, I'm not a threat. I'll protect you. I'll work with you. Don't worry. No. I've played with something too long to know that as soon as you do that, you're in trouble.
But what's interesting about that is Santini has a moment where she tells Nicole, and she says to Nicole, she says, look, I'm a strategic player. You're a physical threat. Like, you're good. And it's in one of the secret scenes. You're good at the challenges. Yes. I know how to play strategically. And it's interesting that they've gone with someone who's openly said, look, I'm a good strategist. You should play with me. It's like, wait, what? Which is,
I'm like, no. Because, everyone was so worried about Santini for those 3 days, about her, the way she kept on flipping and the way she kept on. Well, also, I did inspire people worrying about her by saying that she had told us everything, with a couple of lies put in there as well. And when you do that, it's so hard to put all of that stuff back in the box. It's just, you can't. It's out in the open. It's going to cause a problem. And going back to why I think she deserves a golden spear is purely because she made these people believe. She made them believe more than I could make them believe, which is what the irritating part is.
Okay, but you're saying she made them believe. But are we not overlooking? And Zavion, I would like to hear your opinion on this. Are we not overlooking the fact that someone like Amy has now assessed the situation and gone, I can see that she's not feeling comfortable with the people she's currently aligned with, the deal with the devil, so to speak. And now Amy's actually done the legwork to let her cross the bridge back to her side. Are we not overlooking that credit from Amy's perspective as to how this is going to unfold moving forward? Zavion?
Well, first of all, I really, really enjoy Amy and the game she's playing. She is very under the radar, but still playing the game really, really hard. And she's an awesome chick to watch. I mean, she's bloody brilliant. She's smart. I think that she's having the discussions with Santini. She realizes the value that there could be in that relationship, and I think she's trying to work it as best she can. Whether it will work out for her or not, I don't know. I do think that Amy has realized that she's in an alliance. I think she also knows she's not in the top of that alliance. Alliance always has like levels in Survivor.
Yeah.
You've got like the inner circle, then it's like an onion, and you don't quite know which layer you are and when you're going to get peeled, or if you're like Marisha, you've only got 4 votes and then I'm going to vote you out. You've got 4 votes. So, you don't know when your turn is, but I think Amy is smart enough to see that. And I think she's fluid enough to change with the game. And I think she could potentially be one of those players that's going to be really exciting to watch, because she could be the kind of person that could go, hang on, this alliance doesn't work for me anymore. I'm going to try and make this work for me now. You know, the Anesu, the Chappies, the Santoni, and myself. And then we're 4. And then we're halfway there, you know. So very good, interesting player to watch.
Yeah. Because we're speaking a lot about Santoni and the relationship she's made there, but she's also now pulled in an Nesu, who's also on the fence, not feeling the love from a Tyson, and now all of a sudden that's what's going to make it super interesting. Okay, I'm going to count down to 3, and after I've counted down to 3, you're going to throw your golden spear and say the name that you're giving it to. Okay. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Santoni.
Oh, geez, that was well done, guys. I'm surprised that you came to the same
We
name.
practiced beforehand.
Okay.
Yeah, we did. We actually did this before, yeah.
When you're talking about the stars and you're not having the stars, you're like, oh, by the way, my golden spear nomination, Santoni. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. It's time
let's
for...
not kid ourselves. If I played against Shaun and if I was in the same situation, I would have voted his ass out so quickly. You would not have seen it coming, because Shaun is a sweet talker. He's like fucking Iago from Othello. He talks sweet nothing into people's ears and he tells them shit about you. And, you know, I would have voted you out, Shaun. I'm sorry. I would have. And that's awesome.
No, it's fine.
You're bloody good.
Fine.
I would have. It is.
I take it
the
as a
bus.
compliment. I take it as a compliment. I really do.
But Zavion, if you came out of the bus, you'd drive the bus then. No, we need a bus driver.
No, I would drive over Shaun and then I'd put it in reverse and reverse over him and then put it back into number 1 and go over him again. And you got to make sure they're dead, you know, you don't just
you
drive over
might
them
even pick up
once.
some passengers just to add extra weight onto the bus. Just like really
absolutely.
So for everyone listening, so for everyone listening, this is how you get your Survivor's driver's license, your bus license anyway. That's how you do it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Just find someone and drive.
As easy as that. Simple.
All right, as easy as that. Let's talk about the people that didn't have it so easy this episode. The Wooden Spoon, the player that made the worst move, first nomination. We're going to start with you, Zavion, seeing as Shaun had the rite of passage to go first for the Golden Spear.
No, you know, I'm just like not ready for this, because last episode was so easy. Even though, you know, Marisha was being interviewed, I hands down would have told her that she deserved the wooden spoon. Because who the fuck says to someone, don't worry, you've got 4 votes and then you're going to be gone. So you're still fine for now. Who says that? I mean, really, it's just...
But like, in Marisha's defense, she thought Santoni was coming from this place of no one wanted to play with her, and she was just trying to be a sweet person, saying,
listen, Marisha's a wonderful lady. She's an amazing girl. She's a beast. She's like a She-Hulk, and you can see she actually can't. I don't think she could actually hurt a fly if she tried to. She can see she's got a very genuine spirit. So respect to her. But it is Survivor. And you don't say that.
But this is a bit of a cop-out. This is a bit of a cop-out, because you're speaking about last episode. We're talking about this episode. Chris Dixon in the comments is saying, Shaun, he's giving you the wooden spoon. I don't know how you feel about that. But seeing as Zavion's copped out a little bit, we'll come back to him. Shaun, what do you think about that?
I think it's the whole of Zamba deserves a wooden spoon.
You just want the wooden spoon to smack them with. That's what it is.
We all deserve this bloody wooden spoon, because we became too complacent in the previous episode. We became too complacent believing other people in this episode, and we didn't stick to our game plan. You know, in Survivor, it's good to be fluid, but when things are chaotic, it's good to stick to a plan and try and execute that plan as well as possible. And you know, last week you had the opportunity, we didn't do it. This week we had the opportunity, we didn't do it. So as a collective, I'd like to nominate all of the OG Zamba, and you all deserve it. All of you. Love you guys, but we all deserve this bloody wooden spoon. Look at us. Fucking sitting 6'4" down now. This is my friend.
Shaun is not going down without a fight. He doesn't want this by himself. Zavion, I don't know. If you got to pinpoint someone, can you do it? Can you do it?
Shaun, you know, I really respect you, and I think you were a great player, and you know, all of the above. What was interesting to me, and I think the only reason why I would potentially, possibly, maybe give you the wooden spoon.
You can be honest.
Is-
I'm not very thick-skinned. Don't worry.
No, you know what? I think you know what came across in the episode is that because of the first merge tribal, I think emotions came into play in terms of how you were playing, and I think a lot of that affected that next vote for you because you were out for blood per se.
Yeah.
And I think had you not been clouded by those emotions, I think you might have been able to make something else work. But I think, you know, it only based on emotion, I would give you the wooden spoon. But sorry, can we just talk about the fact that Renier found the clue, but then still read it to people at the table?
Yeah. Yeah. And also, but I mean, can we not also then mention, I know you guys have given her the golden spear, but Santoni for also saying, "Yeah, everybody, let's look for it together."
Let's look. I mean,
But you see, from Santoni, that's smart though. Because from Santoni, that's a smart play because she now knows where it is. Santoni doesn't need an idol to get far. She just needs to know who has the idol, right? Or who has the clue. And that is great gameplay because you don't always have to be the one with it in your possession. You just need to know who has it. So by her saying that, very smart.
All I can say is, and we know now why you wanted to get it off, because this is someone that you just keep giving a lot of credit to. I mean, which is fantastic. Something I hope you're listening. I know you said you were excited for the episode, and you pop in from time to time. So I hope you appreciate the love that Shaun is giving you, even though he wanted to get you off the island. Okay.
Well, look, the whole thing about it is I knew Santoni's game plan, and she knew my game plan. I was option number 2, regardless of what happened last week with my outburst. And there's reasons for that outburst, right? Because I was seen as a dad, I took a lot of things on my shoulders. And if people were upset or hurt or whatever, I took that responsibility as my responsibility. So that outburst wasn't seen as this, it might be seen as the tribal Shaun, it's a shit show, but it's not, perception isn't always reality. And that's why, you know, I know Santoni was gunning for me regardless what happened. Regardless, she would have gone for me. Yeah.
Okay.
She would have gone for me.
Can we just touch on the fact that, Zavion, you've spoken about Tyson saying, you know, bad move on his part, being a bit too cold. And he's come out saying also, if you look at a secret scene, he personally saying, look, he only talks game with Warda and with Kieran. With Chappies, he doesn't talk game. Santoni doesn't. And is this
a bad move?
Yeah, is this not the wooden spoon sort of move for this episode in terms of how this is going to affect his game moving forward?
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, when Inesu went to try and go and get reassurance from him, which was shown to the public on the episode, he was cold. There was not even a little bit of love. You know, most of the time, if you don't want to talk, you know, on Survivor, if you don't want to talk strategy about someone, just fucking talk about family or food or something. You know, give
the weather.
Like the weather.
Weddings.
Can you believe it's sunny on the Wild Coast, you know, or whatever.
Oh, you look good in this white dress.
Exactly. It's
I don't think Tyson would appreciate you saying that to him. He likes his suit.
No. I'm sure. So closed off, and I think, you know, this is the thing about post-merge, and it's going to be so interesting to see this because, you know, something that you forget at some point during the merge is that the people that you're getting rid of are the people who actually are going to decide who wins the game. And people always try and scramble in the end, and then you almost have like this, it's this fascinating culture, and Shaun, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, where as you start getting closer to the top, you know, you have the contestants that walk in, and they all of a sudden, for some fucking reason, think that just smiling at someone that's sitting on the panel on the other side is going to win you favor by going,
yes, I beat you. Yes, I voted you. I stabbed you in the back of the knife 10 times.
Yeah. Like I'm a nice person voting with. It is legit like that. People think that, listen, I can treat you like dog shit. I can vote you out. And you're gonna, and then as soon as you see them in the next thing, and they walk in and they're looking fresh and dapper, and they smell good because they've actually got cologne or perfume on, and then you go, you know, it doesn't work. and this is the thing, and I'm worried for Tyson for this exact reason. He's not building any personal relationships at the moment that I can see watching the show. And Ines is a classic example. This is someone that could potentially not make it to the top 3, even though I think she could be someone that could make it into the top 3. You know, you're someone that you're going to basically that could vote for you to win this game. She's technically part of your alliance, but you're not giving her not even the time of day.
No.
So I think it's
and you're saying we're strong 3, we 3 people, and you're definitely on the outside, but we need your votes for X amount. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. And why would someone, I don't know. It's very interesting because that's exactly what happens, right, Shaun? People think I can do whatever I want, and then at the final talk, when I get to say my say, I will convince everyone in the jury to vote for me, and it does not fucking work like that. Sorry.
Yeah, the problem being is the jury has spent so much time together, not hungry, not tired, and feeling pretty good about themselves because they actually get to sleep in a bed. So like all these things that you think are relevant on the island, when you're on the jury, it becomes more of a joke. It becomes just like, I'm fed. I really don't care about this. This doesn't interest me at all. And you're surprised by that mindset about how much you become disconnected from being in those situations. You forget how hungry you were, you forget how tired you were, and you see these people week in, week out trying to convince you of these wonderful things, and you're like, I really don't care. I just want to see good gameplay. I want to see what's happening. Don't come to me with this emotional heartstring, I love you, I miss you, hugs and kisses stuff. Just show me your CV, play hard. And look, in Tyson's defense, the way the season's been going, I think people will validate gameplay more than they'll validate social relationships. Because this has been a season of non-stop, everyone's at it, everyone's playing hard. Yes, not everyone has the best personal relationships, but Tyson is caring for that. And if you've got a good 1 and 2 that you can trust explicitly through the game, you can do really well. Because if that one person who's your core gets put on the jury, they have the ability to convince the whole jury in that time that you have played a brilliant game. So I don't knock his game. I think, look, he's the youngest castaway. He's the person that's seen the least amount of seasons. So he doesn't understand about jury management. He's still under this assumption that gameplay will win a few. And in this season, it really could be that.
Yeah, the 100%. And we're going to talk about the one other thing that I want to touch on. But Incognito saying if Survivor South Africa ever does some kind of all-star season, Zavion not coming back would be a crime. Zavion, there you got it, man. You've heard it straight from Incognito. I mean, yeah.
Thank you.
Shaun, Incognito also saying that you deserve this wooden spoon. And the reason why, and I'm assuming, Nico Panaggio has come out saying, you look defeatist. He said the same thing about Dino when Dino got voted out. There's all this energy. He went to Tribal. He tried to go along with the Lions, was defeated somewhat at Tribal, and he got voted out. He said the same thing about you. You went there. You seem defeated. You've already touched on the fact you're trying to keep your Lions happy. But I want to comment on the fact there was that moment where you're on the beach with Nicole, with Amy, and they're telling you, what, and it's almost like the cog in your head's turning, and then it stops, and you've gone, well, shit, my name's going to come out here. I think, the writing's on the wall. And to me, it kind of felt like a worthy sacrifice from Amy to go, yes, but we got to go with Warta anyway. So at that point, did you feel like shit, you had to really do something, or what is going on there?
No, so it wasn't a defeatist attitude. I had this plan of, like I said, drive the bus around, get to tribal council, and go full tribal short. It had worked really well with Mike. It had worked really well with Paul. Worked well with Dino, and I really thought if we'd push this way, we just had one person to turn, and convincing one person at tribal, that's possible, right?
Yeah.
Convincing 6 people at tribal, that is a monumental task for any player at any stage of the game. And if I couldn't Smash and Renier were trying to convince Amy and Nicole, no, we got to go this route. We've got to go this route. And you see me, they go, what you don't see me saying, this will never fucking work. This is a stupid idea. It's a dumb idea. I don't think this is going to work. One of us is going to go home. We need to play this game hard and worry about tomorrow and another day. We've got to play hard now. And that's how I always played. It was worry about the next vote tomorrow. Play hard now. And as much as I wanted to go into this tribal council and say, hey, balls to the wall, my alliance was so sure that they could trust Anthony. And that's why I said to her, golden spear, because she managed to convince these people like I couldn't, that this was the best part. And for me, that is why, again, she gets the golden spear. But it was never once was I a defeatist. I was just trying to say, because if I had gone all full tribal, Santini would have become spooked, become worried, thinking that her name was on the block. And because her name wasn't on the block, that would have caused more problems for us. It's just never a defeatist moment. Just it was a calculated decision to try and win over Santini at the last moment, which I even told everyone, this is a stupid idea. It's stupid. Stupid. That's why I want to give all of us a wooden spoon, because it's the dumbest idea. Dumb. Sorry.
No problem, man. Also, I think I need to make a correction. My bad. This is also how statements can be twisted and used to your own sort of advantage. And maybe this is what people do on Survivor. You can both school me on this. Incognito was actually saying you need to come back for All-Star, Shaun. It wasn't him saying you're deserving of the wooden spoon. My bad. That's on me.
I'll take it.
But you do need to have a word with Nico, because Nico's putting it out there saying, you were defeatist there, tribal. Okay, so that's between you two. Right. So I'm going to count down 3, and then we're going to go quack, 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 and we're going to hear your wooden spoon nominations. 3, 2, 1.
Zamba.
The whole Zamba tribe. Yeah, exactly. Zamba OGs.
Thank you, Zavion. I appreciate that so much. Guys, that was the last time I threw the bus over everyone. I promise I'll be good from now on.
Just in case he does go back to All-Stars, we know his strategy. Just avoid the bus. That's all. Look out for the what do you call the guys across the road with the Scholar Patrol? If you got a Scholar Patrol sort of alliance member, you'll be good with Shaun around. That's it. Okay.
Yeah. Just avoid me at all costs. It's easier than that.
All right, Storms Brewing. This is where we make our predictions, what we think is to come. And of course, we know that Shaun has somewhat of an insight, but he doesn't know how it plays out. So we're still going to ask the question, but we're going to start with Zavion, because we're gonna try and read Shaun's face as we say the things that we say. But Zavion, what do you think is to come?
Sorry.
He went to go and bake a banana bread with Mars bars in it. Sorry, excuse him.
I'll see you in like 20-25 years. Tell me like this.
Yeah, look, I think the biggest storm for me that's brewing is definitely Anesu, Santoni, and Chappies being those free agents. And I think this might be the episode where there might be a little bit of a shuffle, and I think some very upset people. I think it is time to get rid of someone on the Vuna side. Otherwise, the Vuna gets too many people. And the problem with having too many people from OG tribes is what happens is it takes one person from the old tribe to convince, 2 or 3 people from that alliance, and then 2 people in their alliance is out, So, it's when you're playing Survivor, you're trying to sort of like knock them down one by one. So it's been interesting to see that, these Zamba people are falling, but the Vuna guys are going to have to get rid of someone from Vuna very soon. Otherwise, it's going to be too many, and your alliances are going to change. So I think that's the storm that's brewing right now, is that I think they are realizing, Kieran, Tyson, those people are realizing that, and it's a gap for someone like Renier. They are seeing that this could potentially happen, that maybe it's time to get rid of one of the Vuna players. So I think that's the major storm. I might be completely bloody wrong, but I think that's the best part about the show is you don't actually know what's happening, and that's why you keep going back every single week to bloody watch. But this twist, let's talk about this twist. This twist.
Yes.
I mean, based on the season so far, it could be bloody anything. I mean, we've seen tribal immunity. I mean, just the immunity island concept is so fascinating for me because, I mean, if you've got two people that are really loyal towards each other, let's look at Tyson and Kieran. That is a combination that could go literally to your top three because they're both very good with these challenges, especially Kieran. If it's Kieran's off day, Tyson could win, and they could literally just keep sending each other to Immunity Island. Is the twist that we're going to see that, you know, Immunity Island means that you no longer have immunity? I don't know. It's going to be interesting because so much can happen. But I think that's for me, that's the biggest storm that's brewing. Is I think someone from Bruna is going to go. Someone from Bruna's got to go.
Yeah, 100%. I think, the swingers are going to get involved. The pendulum's going to shift. And I think Amy's groundwork is going to be convincing for Santoni to flip yet again. And I think this is where the hardcore three that everyone said, because that's what's happened now. They're looking at the three players. They're looking at Kieran. They're looking at Tyson. And, of course, Warden, they're going, they're too strong. We got to cut them by the knees. We can't let them keep going. And you said, Zavion, you said, if you're going to play Survivor and think you're going to win immunity to the end, it's just not going to happen. So there's going to be a time where Kieran's going to fall short, in my opinion. And it's unfortunate because right now, up until this point where he's won back-to-back immunities, I would say, and I said this last week, he's playing a textbook Survivor game in terms of knowing how to play with socially as well as strategy, which is what I want to ask you two now. If we're looking at the strategy side of Survivor versus the social side of Survivor, and I think case in point here is a Kieran versus an Anela. Which one do you think is more effective? I know we've already spoken about smiling at jurors at the end. Obviously, if you've got a social game, that becomes quite key or significant when it comes to getting votes on your side. But which one is most effective? And is it very dependent on the players that you play with?
Do you want to go first, Shaun?
Okay. Yeah, look, for me, no matter how good your strategy is in pre-merge, if you don't have relationships, you're not going to make it to merge. And Smash proved that by getting sent to Immunity Island twice. You know, so no matter how good his strategy was, that wouldn't have saved him. Having relationships is what saved him. So this season has been so topsy-turvy. It's been all over the place. You could have great strategy, which goes completely horribly wrong, and you can have good relationships that go really well. But the difference between the two is, yes, you see a lot more of Kieran's calculations. You see a lot more of him playing immunity, but you don't see that Kieran is a really fun, whimsical guy, kicking lots of jokes, you know, really funny guy. And then with Smash, you see this guy who's lovable and so forth. But the amount of conniving the two of us did while we were in Zamba 2.0 was astronomical. So he does have a strategic brain. The problem being is when you're always at the bottom every single week, it's really hard to put a strategy together when you're just trying to survive. And that's where your social game is going to be really good.
So then another question on top of that then is, I don't know if you guys watched Winners at War with Michelle Fitzgerald. I mean, this obviously all previous winners playing against each other. She was in a similar situation where she was right at the bottom, just surviving, and she made it quite far. But it wasn't recognized because obviously Tony played the game that he played. But in this sort of season, if a player were to do that, if an Anela or say someone at the bottom were to play that sort of game, how commendable would it be when you've got someone like Kieran absolutely killing it seemingly based on the edit? If we just have to put them next to each other.
Are we talking from a juror point of view or from a fan point of view here?
Geez, that's a very good question. I was actually just thinking general question, but seeing as we can speak from a fan perspective.
We don't want to throw some two completely different things.
Yeah.
Juror, because you're not privy to all of the inner workings that happens. You know, you only see what happens at tribal, and that's something that the viewer forgets to understand, is that you don't know what inner workings of Kieran's game there are, because remember, he's got an alliance. There's a certain amount of people. The people that are not in that alliance are not privy to the gameplay that he's doing. So unless someone in his alliance gets voted out and that knowledge becomes privy to the rest of the jury, then they'll know but you actually don't see it. As a person watching at home, you go, wow, Kieran is so good and X, Y, and Z. Or, Anela is doing so well, Smash is brilliant. Oh, he's brilliant to watch. I want him to win. The jury is not privy to that knowledge. They only know what happens at Tribal. And Tribal, let me tell you, is not 10 minutes that it shows on the show. It's 2, 3, 4 hours of filming. Yeah. Nico is excellently brilliant, and Afrikaans is excellently brilliant at getting those questions across and intertwining them with random questions to get the players to reveal what they don't want to actually reveal. And you also, as a jury member, even though you've slept well, you've ate well, it is difficult to actually take cognizant notice of the games that these people are playing based on the questions that Nico's asking. So it's a very, very good point that Shaun has there. There's a massive difference between the jury and the public.
Exactly. Yeah, because for me, when you're on the jury, the only time you know what's happening is at Tribal and when someone gets voted off. Those are the only 2 instances you get any information. Whereas a viewer, you're seeing Kieran's gameplay, you're seeing Tyson's gameplay, you're seeing all the intricacies of those relationships. But as a juror, if those 2 end up in the final 3 together, I won't know who to vote for, because their gameplay is so intertwined that if none of those 2 end up on the jury, who do I vote for? Like, I don't know, because I don't know their gameplay. It's so intertwined as one individual. But as a fan, you can see all the interworking relationships that's happening.
So let's ask this question from both of you now. In terms of picking a player, and this is that cliche sort of question, a lot of jurors do it. If I had to pick the ambassador who's going to represent the season and me playing part of the season, which player, as things stand, would be the best ambassadorial Survivor player for season 8?
That's a cuck one.
At this stage, this is a very, very difficult question to ask. And before, Shaun, I'm giving you the courtesy to think about this. So let me talk about something else while you think about it.
Please.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Let's just go back to season 4 of Survivor South Africa. Season 4, we had Gigi and Ashley. And Ashley, to the viewer, played a flawless game.
Sorry, Zavion, for context for the viewers, the guys from New Zealand and Australia and elsewhere in the UK, just tell them the difference between the 2 quickly. So they have got context between Gigi and Ashley. And what they
Ashley is a South African actress. She was a South African actress. She is a South African actress. She's actually an incredible woman. Gigi's also an incredible woman, but Gigi's a stripper. So, she dances.
Well, not just a stripper. She's a strip club owner.
Entrepreneur.
So she is
stripper entrepreneur.
Exactly.
But anyway, and the difference in their games is Gigi didn't play the game at all. She just kind of got to the end, whereas Ashley actually played the game of Survivor. And she was hands down one of the best Survivor players that, Survivor South Africa's had. It would be fascinating watching someone like Ashley play in season 8. Even though I know that she would never play again, and I think
so. No All-Stars, not a possibility for her.
I think I've always heard her say she will never play again, which is sad because she was brilliant. But anyway, that is the difference between viewer versus what's happening, with the jury, because Ashley played the best game to the viewer and she should have won, but she didn't win. But as for an ambassador, Shaun, have you thought about it? Let me just keep rambling.
Nice stall there, Zavion. Nice stall.
So, look, if I'm going to go for an ambassador to encapsulate the whole season, I would have to go with Inesu, personally. Because, Inesu is like this shining beacon of light amongst the chaos that is season 8. And I think having that person is just like this beacon of light, that there are good things in the game of Survivor, and Inesu is one of them. So I think she'd be a great ambassador. Also, she's a doctor, so she's good with her.
And a yoga teacher, so that's why she's so balanced. I love that. She's got all the different angles. So I think that's a fair shot. And also, she's been unlucky in 2 attempts for the immunity idol. Kamohelo's saying
so close.
Yeah, Kamohelo's saying They love you and love Zavion and Shaun. So shout out to that. You guys are loved apparently. I mean, who knew?
Yeah, I didn't expect that after tribal show, but hey,
Thank you.
as everyone says, hey guys, vote for me, vote for me.
Okay. Alrighty. That pretty much wraps up Storms Brewing. Final thoughts. Anything you want to leave the public with? Anything else you want to tell people? I know, Shaun, you can touch on the fact you've launched. Have you launched an app called, what's it called?
Oh yeah, Theorem.
Yes. Also, fun
Theorem,
fact
yeah.
about this is your brother Dane.
Yeah.
That's a fun fact. I used to play indoor soccer with him. And then he spoke to me
Okay.
about this and he said he was doing this with his
Okay.
brother. Then I saw you put that on your Instagram. I was like, shit, you guys must be brothers. Anyways, okay.
Yeah, we are
talk
brothers,
about it.
surprisingly.
Yeah.
We don't look the same, but we are brothers.
Yeah.
But yeah, we spent the last year and a bit working on this app, and it's basically medical on demand, which is allowing you to get any medical service you want at your house. So it's just like Uber, but now your doctor will come to your house, your nurse will come to your house, your physio will come to your house. So you never have to leave home or the office. There's someone that's always on demand for you. So yeah, that's my day job. Very different.
So look out for that. Has it
Very
only
cool.
been launched in South Africa at the moment in time, or can guys access it overseas?
We've launched in Joburg first. We're doing a small rollout, and then we're going to be expanding to the Western Cape. And then after we've done the Western Cape, it's off to Greece and the UK.
Amazing. All right, that's
Yeah.
cool. Zavion, someone
Random,
saying, oh, no, that's amazing, dude. Chris is asking, someone broke into your fridge firstly, saw that in the background. Also said, who's the man behind Zavion?
He's my fucking husband. He's adding wood to the fire. Don't worry, I'm not being robbed. He's gay? What? I'm joking. Yeah.
Surprise!
Yeah, listen, what a cool app, Shaun. That's really exciting. It's something that can potentially work incredibly well in South Africa. It's really, really, really cool. Well done.
Oh, thank you.
And it seems like there's one
such a
last
small world.
question. Yeah, dude.
Oh, yeah.
One last question. Shaun says, I'm curious to know how Shaun feels he would have gone had he played with the game with Paul.
Ooh, Paul.
Yeah.
Another
sort of a player strong in conviction. You knew where you stand with him. He was unwavering in what he said, similar to Marisha somewhat. I would say, like, you wouldn't put it past Paul to say, listen, I'm voting you off in the next 3 votes. Next 3 tribals.
So the difference between like Marisha is like the sweetest person you'll ever meet. But Marisha puts her foot in her mouth all the time. All the time. Like, you play 30 seconds with Marisha when we played it at Ponderosa. Like, like for her version of someone having sex in 30 seconds, which is,
oh my God.
That was her version of Sex in the City, right? So that's Marisha. Like, she will put her foot in her mouth all the time, but she is a sweetheart. Paul is an interesting character because Paul, once he got hungry, completely changed, and I think that happens to a lot of people. Once the hunger sets in the real world realization that you ain't going home. There's no hotel. There is no comfort. This is it. Life sucks. Deal with it. And some people can get through it, and some people can't. And I think if Paul lost longer in the game, it could have been more problematic for the people at camp, because Paul would have, and you asked Paul, he would have thrown the rice in the fire.
He's already said it. He's already said that.
Yeah,
exactly. He said, had I known, he's like, had I known I was going, I would have burnt the camp to the ground. I was like, well, that's kind of the point of Survivors, you not knowing. And he's like, yeah, fair point.
Well, I convinced Paul for that whole day to try and help me catch wild pig. Because don't worry, we're going to set up these traps and we'll be back tomorrow. There's no tomorrow for you, man. But we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll make sure that we, we'll look for these traps and find this pig. Because you're so hungry, he was willing to try and catch wild pig. But I think if he had made it further in the game, the hunger might have made him do some things that he regretted more than anything else. Because there's that moment you see the camp raid, and you see there's this Future Life box that I grabbed from Vanessa and give back to Paul. Now, everyone's assumption is that I'm being a dick and I'm taking away the Future Life from Vanessa. It's not the case. What was in that Future Life box was sand and a very, very selected worded note to individuals at Vuna. And he was trying to give it to them as a food reward. And when they got back to camp, they would be very surprised that it's sand with some very choice words. But that kind of happens when you start getting hungry. So I think it would have been a much harder player to play with moving forward. I think he's a great guy. It's just your hunger can do the worst to people. Can do amazing things.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely enjoyed him when he was on the show. Zavion, last final thoughts from your side. I mean, I don't know if you want to touch on Intermittable, if you want to just talk about your general life as it is. I mean, the palm trees in the background, the man stealing a fridge, so many things to talk about. What do you want to say?
No. And
start with the fridge.
My fridge is fine. It's that side of my life. That's the fridge, and that is a fireplace. So if he's raiding the fireplace, I don't know what. And that's a dog.
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
Let me just give you a tour of the whole house.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't think Shaun would have minded had he gotten voted off and probably stayed at your place there. You could have had your spars there in his fridge.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I think from my side, obviously thanks for having me on your show. It's very cool, and thanks for the opportunity, and thanks for all of the fans that are interacting. It's very cool of you guys and girls. Shaun, well done. I think you played a brilliant game. I'm sad to have seen you go. I would have loved to have seen a little bit more Iago vibes, where you whispered some sweet nothings into more people's ears. I think it would have made for brilliant TV. I'm sad to see you go, but well done on a good game. I'm very excited to see if you're going to be one of those jury members that walks in like this, or that just like walks in like this. So it's always interesting to me to see the people. Yeah.
I'm going to be playing
Backstreet
Boys.
Yeah, I was about to say Backstreet Boy vibe. That's it. Oh yeah. And I run it that way. Tell me why.
And all the young people are
one-arm bandit there, so I'm just like, Yes, man.
Oh my god. Shaun, you do that suspiciously well. Just saying.
I used to dance in the bathroom living with no clothes. Well, very little clothes.
And listen, on my side, we obviously it's been COVID, so our business has been a little bit on the slow side at the moment, but we're getting there, and then we're picking things up. We've got a really incredible product which we are launching in about a month. Which is going to go sort of all over South Africa, which we're very excited about. I can't really say much about it, but if anyone is watching, you guys can go and follow me on Instagram at Zavion K, and then you guys can know a little bit more about what we're launching. Very exciting, I just can't wait to watch the rest of the season. I can't wait to see who the people are that get to the top. I can't wait to see the inner workings of all of the things we've been laughing and joking about. I really do feel my season included, it is hands down the best season of Survivor that we have seen in South Africa. If that post-merge episode that merge episode was anything to go by, I think we're going to have an electric couple of episodes ahead of us, which is so brilliant for the brand. It's so brilliant for Afrikaans, the production company, and it's testament to not only the contestants but the whole production company, and just the amount of kudos that they deserve for creating such brilliance and such world-class TV, that we have people in Australia and New Zealand that watch it and just go, wow, this is freaking amazing. It makes me proud. I'm very happy to see the Survivor family grow, and I hope that it just has so many more seasons. We don't even need an All-Stars. It would be great But I just want to see more and more seasons of Survivor because it's genuinely one of the best. It is hands down the best television show in South Africa.
Best game in the world. Best game in the world.
Best game in the world. Correct.
Yeah. I don't know if we should say more after that. What a way to end off. I just want to say...
I feel like I would just screw up whatever you just said. Like, I'll just shut up.
I mean, I just wanted to end the show there because I was like, I don't know what to say. I'm going to say something. And now I'm saying it. Now I'm like, but there's no substance to what I'm saying.
We're just going to rumble on with bullshit for the next half an hour. No, stop it. Come on. Focus, people, focus. We've got to end this.
Yeah, want to say thank you so much for joining me, Zavion, Shaun. Always a pleasure. Well, always a pleasure. I mean, this is the first time I'm hanging out. Looking forward to hanging out with you guys sometime. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometime soon. Yeah, next week, Zavion's place for the Radies trip. No, I'm joking. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And to everyone who was on the line, all the TNO guys, you were privy to some fascinating information. Obviously, Zavion launching something, so keep your eyes peeled there. Also, Shaun doing the things with an awesome app that's coming out. Look out for that. And yeah, until then, we'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the next episode, and please bring the bands like these two gentlemen did tonight, and have a fantastic weekend and a better week. I don't know. Was that a decent job? For some reason, I've lost my trail of thoughts. Someone? Yeah?
That was great. Someone push play on the Oscar music, though. Like...
Yeah.
I want to thank my mom. I want to thank my dad.
Slow faded.
I just want to send out love to my mom, my father, my cousin, my second cousin, my third cousin, and everyone else that plays Survivor.
Yeah. Okay. On that note, cheers, guys. We'll see you next week.
Thank you so much. It was fun. Enjoy the weekend.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.